Hi, everybody. It's your friend Bill, the Stoic Pilgrim here, with a special anniversary edition of a Stoic meditation. Today is a special day for a couple of reasons. I've targeted completing the Camino del Norte, completing it, at least getting to Santiago in 35 days. Today is the 18th day, so I'm half a day past the halfway point as far as time is concerned. However, more importantly, today is my 36th wedding anniversary with Carol Swanson Giovinazzo, formerly Gloria Carol Swanson, who 36 years ago today became my wife. And I tell you what, I'm a lucky guy, a lucky guy. I was very fortunate to have Carol for a wife. I am very fortunate to have Carol for a wife. The past tense doesn't really work there. I just remember the first time I saw her. I mean, she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen or had been in the presence of. And she's just really something special, and I really love her. Which makes me think of what love is and why we love. And I think there's two things about love that sometimes people don't forget or don't quite remember. See, when you love somebody, there are things that are called essential attributes. Those things that if you were to remove them, the person isn't the person anymore. If you were to take away my music, my writing, my literature, my Italian heritage, I wouldn't be Bill anymore if you removed any one of those things. Those are my essential attributes. And when I fell in love with Carol, it was her goodness. It was beyond her beauty. It was her goodness and just her character that caused me to fall in love with her. And the other thing about love is that in love, when we love somebody, we encourage them in developing themselves and developing their essential attributes. While on the Camino, I was very fortunate to spend a day walking with a friend, and she was telling me about her relationship with her husband, who has since unfortunately passed. And she told me about how she fell in love with him, and he used to bake pastries, and she was a waitress, and when her shift was ending, his shift was beginning, and he'd have these pastries, and she'd give her pastries every morning. By the way, guys, great way to ply a woman is to ply her, or to win a woman is to ply her with pastries. And she fell in love with him, and they ended up having a pastry shop, and they had 2 kids together, and they had a great marriage. And it was great to hear about that story. I also think about my middle child, my daughter, and how when her husband was going through very rigorous training to be a pilot, as we all do when we go through something rigorous, he was challenged and he felt like he wanted to give up. And my daughter wouldn't let him. She says, "You give up. You stop talking to me. It's over." And it wasn't that she was in love with the idea of marrying a pilot, but she knew that was his dream and that was his essential attribute. That was what he wanted, and she encouraged him and somewhat forced him, if you will, to continue pursuing that dream. And that's what we do when we love one another. We continue to make them, or we encourage them, and we continue to assist them and facilitate their striving to be the better people of who they are. And that's what love is. And the other thing is, there's an old thing in mythology about how the gods, at one time, human beings were 2. We had 2 sets of arms and 2 sets of legs and 2 heads. And the gods feared us, that we were too powerful. So they split us. And that marriage is looking for that other half and becoming one with them. And that's what marriage is. It's getting together and finding that other half and becoming one and working together. And I think this is one of the many reasons why I fell in love with my wife, was very early on, when we were getting to know one another, like in the first or second date, we had a common vision of what life was like, and we valued certain things together. I remember talking about her parents and about how great it is to be old and to be in love, and talking about the future and what we valued. And when I saw her and when I met her and when I talked to her, and the better I got to know her, I realized that this is my other half. This is that other set where we'll work together to build a better future for each of us, and have children and build a future for them. And that's what life is. You know, it's like I said, she was beautiful and very easy to fall in love, but more importantly, it was that we worked together and that we saw what we wanted together out of life, and we worked together towards that. And in a partnership, we built a good life. I mean, look at this. I'm walking the Camino. And I mean, not everybody gets to do this. And I realize I am blessed, but a lot of it is because I had this great partner in life, that we worked together and shared a common vision. And that's what love is. And that's what a good marriage is where you work together. I've seen so many marriages where it's a contest between wills, and that isn't right. It's really a partnership of working together in love with one another. And like I said, we built this good life together. But you know, we raised our kids, and they're adults now, and two of my kids have gone off and started families of their own, and now a third one, my son, is finishing med school, and we'll see what happens with him. And so now it's time for us to enjoy the fruits of our labor, because we both know we have more days behind us than we do in front of us. And the other day I talked about, you know, I use this potato chip methodology, metaphor, and I guess maybe it's a silly metaphor, but I talk about how I love potato chips, and how life is like just a bag of potato chips, not like a box of chocolate, but like, it's like I really love potato chips. It's like a small bag of potato chips. So when you eat them, you eat every one and you savor every one. Well, I'm at the stage of life now. We're at the stage of life now where all the whole chips are gone, and we kind of have the pieces left. I don't know how big those pieces are and how close we are to the bottom of the bag. But it's at the point where you realize that you really have to savor these last few chips together, that you really have to savor these last moments together. Because we never know how many chips are left in the bag, right? So we have to savor them together. And I thought of a sonnet by Shakespeare that I really love. And I've memorized it, but I know I'll forget it and I'll look foolish. So I'm going to read it to you here. And it reminds me of basically what I want to say to my wife. And it goes like this. It's, that time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves or none, or few do hang, upon those boughs shaken with the cold, bear ruined choirs where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of the day, as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, the second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such a fire that on the ashes of youth doth lie, as on the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave ere long. love is strong. I feel it more each day for my wife. Because each day is like those precious potato chips. To love that well, which makes love more strong. To love that well, which thou must leave ere long. I'm going to cherish these days. I cherish these days. To be with her. To enjoy the things that we've built together. And in a previous meditation, I referred to a couple of Stoic statements. One is, death smiles at us all, and all man can do is smile back. And the other one is that man should not fear death, but never having lived. And I said in that meditation that I can smile back at death because I've lived. And I'm not afraid of death because I've lived a good life and I've loved a good woman, and a good woman has loved me. Yeah. So there's no fear, nothing but joy, nothing but the pleasure of knowing that these years together, who knows, 20, 30, maybe even 40 years that we have left together will make our love more strong, because we'll love which we must leave ere long. And that's what I want to say to you all as this meditation. In addition to telling my wife how much I love her and how much I'm grateful for the years that I've had with her, and how much I'm looking forward to the years we have coming, I want to tell you all, look at those essential attributes of the person you love. Encourage them to develop themselves in those attributes. And cherish the time that we have together, because as I said before, yeah, I'm old. I'm getting older, but no one knows how much time you have left. So cherish those people you have. Love those people you have. Love them well. Love well, which makes love more strong, because you never know that we may have to leave ere long. So, Carol, I love you. Thank you so much for marrying me. Kids, learn from this. Strangers, learn from this. But remember, cherish the people you love and cherish being alive. And tomorrow we walk on the Camino again. Hopefully it won't rain. Okay, so buen camino. Bye. We'll talk to you later.